Hello ladies and gentlemen, as always I'm your host AirsoftAL, and welcome to another commonly asked questions video where I answer the most commonly asked questions I get on a lot of guns. And ironically enough, this one is an eye-opener because the most commonly viewed videos on my channel, if you're very perceptive, are most of the time my Springer guns, or at least my angry reviews. One of the ones I still get comments on to this day is of course my WELL M16 review. The M16A1, which really isn't an A1, but it's just one of those weird things, especially with the Brown L's retro line coming out. There's a lot of new information on the M16 line coming out now. A lot of people are getting a lot more interest. I'm especially getting a lot more interest in the M16 line, especially the main designs that came out after the A1, and a lot of the variants of the A1 that came with it. Now, this one is, of course, in fact, like I said, the WELL M16A1 or A2, whichever one you want to go with, or the many variants of it. Now, the reason I'm getting a lot of questions on this one is because a lot of people also watch the mod guide that go along with it, and a lot of questions have popped up on this because of it. So, let's go ahead and get the most commonly asked one: is it worth it? Yes and no. Yes, it's worth it if you're intending to mod it. That's another question I will answer into, and we'll get a little deeper into. But if you really want one, it's not a bad gun, especially if you want to take it out to a backyard game, or if you actually want to troll people after upgrading it. You can actually feasibly use this as a sniper rifle, because the hop-up in here, the fixed hop-up, is actually really good. And the spring I have in here, while yes, not as powerful as an M110 or an M120, does reach out to about 120 feet with a .2. So it's not that bad, and I really am impressed with it, actually. The other question, of course, is the magazines. Or, my bad. Now, the no in that is that, no, I don't recommend you buy it for 20 bucks. If you really want to get this, I recommend you buy it on sale when it goes on sale on eBay, or you go online to eBay and you try and find a WELL M16 cheaper. It's definitely worth like $15, but I don't recommend you go paying the full 20 for it, because there are a lot of better Springers out there for 20 bucks, i.e. the M14 Springer, be it the AGM one, or it might be UTG I'm thinking of. It's either AGM or UTG that actually has a hop-up system similar to the M14 AEGs, and you can upgrade that into a sniper rifle, which is actually really, really nice. The other thing is that, again, the only real recommendation I can give you for wanting to buy one of these is either for cosplay, modding, or just, you want to collect airsoft guns and sort of display them on history and say, this is what we had in such and such time period of airsoft. So that's just my personal opinion on the yes and no question. The second most commonly asked thing I get is the magazines. What kind of magazine does it take? Does it take a weird AEG magazine? Does it take a weird, Springer magazine? No, actually, it has a rather interesting magazine here, which is it's sort of similar to the Double Eagle AEG magazine. And yes, I do mean the DE, the Double Eagle AEG M4 that's under 70 bucks. And yes, I am wanting to get one of those to review one day, because I've heard a lot of good things about them. I've heard a lot of good saying that they're great starter guns. I've heard a lot of good things about them in terms of modding, and the fact that they're actually used as gel blasters, and they are very great gel ball blasters as a whole. Now, the magazines themselves are not that bad. They're actually competently designed. You can buy more of these for like $5 a pop, I think, right now. The prices may have changed last I looked. But the way they're designed, they're actually really interesting, as they have a little stop right here so you can pull it up and all that. So it makes loading these one at a time to use as mid caps a lot easier. I don't recommend using them as the high cap feature, because I use it as like a mid cap of sorts. So that's just my personal thing. One of the other things is that, or one of the other questions is, can it be modded? Yes, it can be. I actually have put because here's the thing. The original spring that was in here was a cut down AEG spring. So I just took a stock AEG spring, a CQB AEG spring that I had, popped it in here, and it takes it. It handles it. Now I have talked to other people who have actually modded these, and the best I can tell you is that yes, they can take AEG springs, but I can only recommend you go up to maybe a 120. I don't recommend you going higher than an M120 because I am wanting to replace this with a higher powered FPS spring, a 110 or a 120. I might go the 120 if it can handle a 110. So I would recommend to you guys to get a 110 or at least go at least to the 400 FPS mark, not any higher than 400 FPS. Now, another one is, of course, the different variants of the M16. The WELL or deep firepower M16 series. There are many different variants. You have the classic A1 style. You have the A2 variant with the rounded handguard. You have the tactical variant. And believe me, I'm wanting to review those. I really do. I'm wanting to review those, and I am wanting to also upgrade those to make them just that little bit more evil. I really do. Now, of course, one of the other things is that when it comes to getting optics on this, a lot of people ask, okay, so if I don't want to run iron sights, how do I actually put an optic on this? Well, that's actually rather simple. For $10, you can actually get an optic rail mount, which goes into carry handles, and it looks a little something like this. This is the Matrix, I think. There are many different brands on the market, but you can buy this from e-bike, and this is like a standard Weaver rail type deal. It's not a Picatinny rail, so the placement for the optics is going to be all over the place. But this is definitely something you'd want to do. And the best part is that there is a nice little see-through through the actual rail itself, so you can use iron sights if you need to. It's not that bad, and it works just fine. And it does give you enough rise off the actual cheek wall, so that way if you're wearing like a dye mask or something of that nature, you can still use the optic fairly well. I actually run when I'm running this gun, I actually either use this or I'll run a high power scope off it because, once again, no, you guys don't like me repeating this, but once again, it's because I have a stigma in my right eye. My right eye is strained from shooting iron sights for 26 years of my life, so I have to use a high powered optic. And I know a lot of you are immediately kind of making jokes saying, oh, high-powered optics on this, it doesn't work fairly well. Well, that's your prerogative and your opinion, and I say it's wrong. Either way, though, the only other question I can think of is it worth it? And yes, I know a lot of it's come down back to it, but the other question is it worth it to buy one, mod it, and then just run it as is like a sleeper sniper? Yes. Full-heartedly yes, it is. Buying one of these and modifying it shows not only your skill in terms of just airsoft as a whole, but also your marksmanship in airsoft as a whole as well. I fully recommend anyone actually buy one of these just to pop in a 110 or a 120 into this and just have a ball with it, using it as like a sleeper sniper. If you want to get the IRS variant, go ahead. If you want to get the A2 variant, go ahead. If you want to get this variant, go ahead. It's just one of those things. And for this, I have it. This was originally set up like the service rifle from Fallout New Vegas, but I have it set up like the Air Force variant that Brownells has. And that's about it. Either way, though. Thank you all for watching. As always, I've been AirsoftAL, the common man's airsofter who answers commonly asked questions on guns so you can get a little bit more educated on them. And would you kindly consider liking, subscribing, disliking, and hitting the notification bell? And if you like what I do, would you kindly consider supporting our work? PayPal down below. It's folks like you that make things like this possible, and I will, hopefully, you guys get to help out a lot more. Anyway, thank you all for watching. As always, I've been AirsoftAL, and I will see all you lovely people in the next video. Till next time, later.